Welcome to Honest Faith Conversations. As always, I am your co-host, Miguel Covarrubias.
And I am Kathy Covarrubias. And today, let's talk about the movie Split. Not like Banana Split.
Yes. This is M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie, and a real return to form for him.
Yeah.
Definitely was not one of his... No.
Wasn't a happening.
What? Yeah, it was not a happening movie, so...
Oh, jeez.
Sorry. Dad jokes aplenty today. Just so you know, since this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, there is a twist in it, so spoiler alert. We probably will not talk about the twist until the very end.
Yeah,
though,
and that's we may not even need to bring up the twist.
Yeah.
Because it's shocking, but it's not, important to what we have to say today.
Yeah. It's a twist. With that being said, we'll do our usual review and summary. Although the last few times we really haven't done that. So,
no.
I really do think it was a return to form for M. Night Shyamalan. It was a very good movie. I think that he really got the philosophy in horror that everybody enjoyed from him in his first few movies. Mm-hmm. And then he slowly went off the deep end. But luckily, I think this could be his comeback, so this could be a good thing. A really brief summary of the movie is 3 girls are kidnapped and in a basement with an unusual captor.
Most captors are unusual. It's not like...
Well, there are some usual captors, I'm sure.
Sorry. Continue.
So that will be the very brief summary, because that doesn't give away too much of the movie without any spoilers. So.
Well, we already given a spoiler alert, so at this point in time, I feel like it's okay to spoil.
Well, okay. The captor has dissociative identity disorder, and several of the identities have interactions with the girls. They tell the girls why they're captured for a 24th identity, which the therapist does not believe is real. And so
all right,
madness ensues.
Oh, jeez. Oh, gosh. Okay, so I too really liked it. I really have to say that recently there's been a lot of good horror movies. There hasn't been a lot of what is it called? Gore horror is what is it called? Is that what it's called?
Gore horror. Some people could refer to it as gore porn.
Yes, where it's a lot of blood and guts and that kind of stuff, because that's not my cup of tea. I like a scary movie to where I'm this could possibly happen, and it's not just all about shock value of dismemberments and guts and blood and that kind of stuff, where there is a little bit of blood and guts in this, but it's not prolonged.
Yeah, it's very brief.
It is very brief.
And it's quite literally blood and guts, because it is her guts that are shown.
Yes. But it's not it doesn't linger on there for too long. It's enough to be oh my gosh, this happened, but that's it. You're not forced to watch more of it. Anyway, so that's what I liked about it.
I think the most, and we probably should have given a trigger warning too, but the...
oh yeah. Well, we can give the trigger warning now.
Yeah, trigger warning. For those, there may be some trigger things about what we say in this episode, especially what I'm about to say. I think the worst part of the entire movie for me was the flashbacks from Casey, was watching her uncle and knowing what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And, they didn't show anything, but it was still kind of it hurt me.
I was
no.
F you, dude. F you. I kind of knew something like that was going to happen, based on her flashbacks, but still, anytime that a child is being taken advantage of and abused, it just, it riles me up. Anyway, continuing on. So, again, as he said, it was 3 teenage girls are kidnapped. Honestly, I can't remember the other 2 names, but but the main girl is Casey, and she's the one that is abused, and we have like the flashbacks, and she's the one that we follow out throughout the most of the movie. And then let's kidnapped, and then they try to escape several times, like normal time, like that's normal in kidnap movies, and she's free. She lives. The other 2 die.
I don't know why you're looking at me. This is
I
your
don't know.
summary.
That's pretty much it. I know. Well, I got stuck, so I was like, I don't know what else to say because it's pretty much, I don't know, because what we're going to be talking about, continuing on with this episode, is going to talk more about the plot and like what happened in the movie. So,
well, I think that this is a real return to form for M. Night Shyamalan because he does such a great job of displaying brokenness, of displaying what it's like to be suffering through something. And, I mean, he did this with Sixth Sense, with Haley Joel Osment, back when he was cute and young and not
like
in the weird movies that he's in now.
Yeah.
There's one about a teacher that's, going through a sexual awakening or something. That's weird. Anyway, there is, he did so very well with Unbreakable. He did so very well with some of his very early movies. It was
even with Signs, they're like, each
well,
one of those
Signs
characters
especially.
is broken.
And Signs was specifically about being broken from faith. And I think Signs was very impactful movie for me because it came out right at the beginning of my own ministry. That and his signs in the movie, for lack of a better term, even though I'm full of dad jokes today, his signs in the movie were very obvious, and so I used it often to kind of show teenagers, storytelling methods that, there is something deeper in the story, which in that one it's very easy. You're just like, oh look, there's a cross there.
Yep.
Oh look, there's a Bible.
Yep.
And I think that here in this movie it really displays, the real kind of brokenness of these characters, of things that they were going through. And I think M. Night Shyamalan must have gone through something as a child because he really often kind of...
the main characters usually have some kind of...
childhood trauma.
Well, some kind of trauma.
Some kind of trauma usually happening as a child. And I really think that there is a point that the therapist makes in the movie here that I think is an excellent point, which is that people are stronger after being broken. But I also see it as a twofold kind of way, that they're either stronger or they're weaker for having gone through it. And it really depends on the person. And I'll come to that in here in just a second, but I think that ultimately it boils down to the choices that we make after we go through a trauma, after we go through a traumatic event. And I was listening to the latest Radiolab podcast this last week, and they had gone over one of their episodes from earlier, and it was a story about a man who was having seizures, and he had already had a surgery where he had a part of his brain removed, but he was going to go in for another surgery to have part of his brain removed, and
to help with the seizures.
And so afterwards, there was, anyway, to make the story really short, was that there was this court case, and he had done some things that he wasn't exactly in control of.
Because part of his brain was removed.
Yeah, because that's what I just described. Okay. So the judge came down, and with a ruling that I very much agreed with, was that he's in control some of the times, and he also knows about the times that he was out of control. So therefore, he could have asked somebody to help during the times that he was out of control, to watch him or to make sure that there was something that was there to help him to stay in control. And then they had a doctor on afterwards to kind of talk about how he believes that there is no such thing as free will, that it's all chemical responses in our brains. And I really don't agree with that, because I think that ultimately what life boils down to is our reaction to the events that we go through, the traumatic events that we go through. that you either have one of two branching paths off of that traumatic event, where you can either take, the good things and what you learn from it and become stronger.
Yep.
You can be like Kelly Clarkson says in the song, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think that's very true for me. And I see so many people struggling with some same things that I went through in my life. And I really want to tell them that there is hope afterwards. You can become stronger from this. You can't let it make you weaker. You can't let it tear you down. And I really think that that ultimately that is the way to kind of help those people, but not really saying the exact path for them. But I'll let you talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, and you can interject your thoughts as well at any time as usual. So when it comes to something traumatic happening, like in a friend's life, for example, especially in this movie, we know that the doctor herself, she is there for her patients. Like, you can tell that she does care for her patients, but she also cares a little bit about the conference that she was invited to. And she's a little bit sore about the fact that she no longer has a whole session to herself, and now she's part of a board instead. And she was really looking forward to talking fully about what her discoveries were. And she was kind of using her patients to kind of pull more information about the disorders, like, from them. She did want to help them, but then it's almost like through the movie, like, he clearly was crying for help. Like, he seriously was emailing her, help us. Like, you can't get more clear than that. And she was just like, okay, like, how are you doing? Like, she didn't push any further when, I guess it was, he said he was Barry, but it wasn't Barry. We find out later. One of the personalities. When she was talking to him, saying that, or like trying to get him to open up to see, like, why you emailed me, and he just was like, I don't know, like, I just had a tough time, but now I'm better. He's like, but then why did you email me again the next night, and again, like, 2 nights later?
Well, I really think that in essence that she's trying to help, but she's helping in the way that she thinks is that Kevin's personalities need help in this movie. And that's, kind of what I was saying with the branching paths, is that so often, we have these instances where people want to help somebody through a traumatic event, or say, this is the way that you should go afterwards. That's what helped me. You should do this too. But everybody has their own way of dealing with things. Everybody has their own way of coming at a situation, and so I think that for her, that's what this was helping in the wrong way. She wasn't paying attention to what was going on.
No, I think maybe her thing was that she was just trying to observe. And, like, I get it. Like, that's part of one of the things that doctors do. They observe because they need to figure out exactly, like, how to best handle the situation. But I think that she observed too long. Yeah. And why didn't she call the police? Like, when she got those, like, 20 emails in a row saying, you need to, like, help us, help us, help us. And instead of just, like, going there by herself, like, clearly she needed some kind of backup because something traumatic had happened. I don't understand why she didn't call the police at that point in time.
Because she was still trying to help the personalities. She was still trying to help the identities to...
But wouldn't it be helpful, though? like,
just in case? If she showed up with the police, don't you think that the personalities would take offense to it?
Oh, yeah, I can see that. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like at this point in time, with the amount that it had escalated to... that, like, I mean, she clearly knew something was wrong. And I just think that she was still kind of more focused on trying to take care of it herself instead of calling for backup. And sometimes you can't help one individual when they need. Sometimes you do need to have a team to kind of help back you up, even if it is sometimes police.
Well, you definitely need...
or at least maybe get another doctor friend, or something like that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I believe that she just acted too late, and I don't think that she acted wholly responsibly.
Okay.
To a certain point.
Yeah.
And then also in Casey's story, we also find that she clearly, we find out that she is a loner. She acts out in class all the time. She yells at the teacher. She is in detention all the time. And the other two girls are like, she's a weirdo. We don't understand what's wrong with her. And clearly, I mean, I know teacher, and if you're a teacher, tell me if I'm wrong or not. But from my own, teacher friends, my understanding is when kids are behaving poorly in class to that extent, chances are there's something going on at home that needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. One of their needs is not being met to make them feel like that they need to act out in order to get attention. And a lot of times kids don't know that they can go to other trusted adults, or they don't know who those other trusted adults may be because they haven't experienced a whole trusted adult themselves, depending on the circumstance. And this is the case in Casey's circumstance. I mean, through the flashbacks, there was two adults in her life. There was her father, and there was her uncle. She loved her father. She trusted her father, but it was her uncle. And her father is now dead, and she has to live with her uncle. So I don't think she ever knew that she had that option to go to teachers or some kind of authority to let them know what was actually going on in her life, which is pretty sad and tragic in itself.
I think, it is specific training for those of us who are dealing with adolescents and with young people is to be aware of the warning signs there. I did bring this up maybe a few weeks ago. Maybe it was just in one of my writing, my blog writing. But I know that so often we spend, especially in the Christian religious churches and societies and communities, that they spend way too much time trying to prevent those abuses from actually happening, that they don't have any money or any energy to actually take care of those who have been through these abusive situations. And that's unfortunate. That's hugely unfortunate, because
I would say it's a problem, not just unfortunate.
It's not just unfortunate. It's a problem because there are so many people who have dealt with abuse, who have gone through some horrible traumatic instances, and trying to reconcile that with spirituality, with a God that loves them, or with a community that's supposed to be family, when maybe it was even family that did these things to them. That it's very much trying to find a place where they can trust somebody, and they can't. In Casey's instance, I couldn't imagine, that her father was the person that she trusted, and now he's gone, and the whole world must be terrifying for her. Mm-hmm. And no wonder, the secret that she tells Hedwig, one of the identities, she says that, she gets into trouble, she gets into detention on purpose to get away from everybody. And, I can understand that. Completely. And she knew from her own abuse how to tell the other girl, and I can't remember her name either, but to tell
not
the other
the birthday girl, the other girl.
Yeah,
yep.
The one with the dark hair. To urinate on herself. That would make her a little bit less desirable. Which, that's something that I'm sure that it would have taken that abuse to teach her that. It would have taken something to give her that knowledge. That's something I wouldn't even think about. Yeah,
that's something that they actually train you, or they tell you about, in defensive courses, because I've taken a few defense courses. Just because I'm a woman and you kind of have to, unfortunately. And that's one of the things that they tell you is that if you can, not everybody can pee on command, but if you can, utilize that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make you less desirable and they'll leave you alone. And, she clearly had been dealing with a lot of tough shit. Just when she took off her shirt and she just had her tank top and she was cut all over the place. All over the place. And I know that, a lot of people think that cutting is an attention grabber. But when you're cutting and harming yourself in the way that she was clearly doing it to hide it from people. She was doing it in places where she could clearly, cover it up so nobody would know. So, in circumstances like that, it's obviously not attention grabbing because she's purposely hiding it from people.
Yeah, and, I had to deal with a student that was cutting pretty badly before, and it was in essence to help her to feel something, and
kind of like her trying to help herself.
Exactly, it's a lot of that whole self-medicating kind of idea there. And, so many people do things like turning to drugs or alcohol or anything else to kind of get, that hurt away from them. It's no wonder that, some of these things end up breaking people, end up shattering them in these horrific ways. And with with Kevin, you can see that, he was broken by, a couple of different things, by both his father as the therapist mentioned, and also his mother, and it's horrible, some of these things that people have to go through. And I think what made it worse was that I just learned about a story of a YouTube family personality. I don't know what you would call them, presenter.
Oh, they were just one of those YouTube families that did just videos together. Prank. They called them prank videos. But they clearly were not.
Yeah,
prank videos.
I'm not gonna mention their names or anything else like that, but
because I don't want to promote their videos. Well, most of the videos have been taken down.
Yeah, but even so, even if they're trying to work on themselves now, I want them to afford them that opportunity. Is that seeing the abuse that was happening in some of those videos when I learned about the story. It killed me. Seeing our most vulnerable people, children and young people and youth being abused like that, it kills me, because it's like they can't defend themselves. It forces them to grow up way sooner than they need to be. And I can't imagine Casey's life and having to deal with is that right, Casey? And her having to deal with all of that either. And I think that, coming back to what I was saying earlier, is that this is a return to form for M. Night Shyamalan, because, it really, she was a real character.
Yep.
She was real, and
you rooted for her. You wanted her to survive. Out of anybody, you were like, I want you to make it.
Yeah,
you deserve to make it.
You even rooted for Kevin. You even rooted for some of his personalities, for his identities. And
for the brief moment that we saw them.
Yeah. And, that's what made the villain so real and so complex. And like I said...
villains, I guess.
Villains, yeah. And like I said last week with Voldemort, it was that's the problem that Marvel has going on, is that they don't have believable villains. They don't have... They have these, villains that are larger than life, and, it's not believable.
Yeah. And with talking more about Kevin, so Kevin is the name of the person who, the original person, the first, the person who was there first.
Yeah.
I guess. Because I don't know if you would want to consider him a personality. He has his own personality, but he's not an offshoot. He's the tree trunk.
He's a tree trunk, yes.
He's the tree trunk. And through the course of his life, we learn that, and this is actually typically the case, not all the time, because, I mean, dissociative identity disorder is very complex and highly debated, but most of the time, personalities will start showing up during super traumatic events in somebody's life. And we learned that the first personality came about when his mom is upset at him that he is dirty and that he needs to clean. And then all of a sudden, he now has a personality that has developed who is like super neat and super clean, and like tries to defend him, like tries to make him stronger and help him in their own way.
Well, and that personality has its own disorder, which is with the obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yep. I mean, like that scene with Casey when she had the crumb on her shirt, and he like was like, "You need to take off your shirt."
Yeah.
Because you have a crumb on it. Like, you could just brush off the crumb and you're fine. And apparently the bathroom was disgusting. And like when the girls were in there, like they, did the screenshot of the bathroom and it was like fine. Like I've seen disgusting bathrooms and I would not consider that bathroom to be disgusting. But anyway, so in a way, Kevin was trying to help himself each time he was developing a new personality. Mm-hmm. And most of them were good and were helpful and had their own genuine good purpose. But then you had, I would say it's Patricia and Miss Patricia and Dean, right? Is it Dean?
Dennis.
Miss Patricia and Dennis were the main baddies, and I would say that Hedwig. I would say that he's not a bad kid. He just was manipulated into joining the trio because he has that special power to where he can see the light whenever he wants.
Yep. That he can take over as the personality, the dominant personality whenever he wants, and that he let Dennis and Patricia, who were the two that were not allowed by the other personalities to take over.
Yep.
And the reason being was that their belief in the 24th personality, the Beast, that it was harmful. And
and the other ones knew it too. They were like, let's nip that in the butt real quick because that's not going to be helpful at all. So each of the personalities had their own, and I think this is true for almost every single one of the characters throughout the movie, is that they have their own way of thinking their way is right. They have their own way of saying that, oh no, I'm trying to be helpful, but my way is right. I mean, each of the characters has that. I mean, the dad did it at the very beginning, was that, you should have invited her. Well, I'll be helpful by taking her along. Yeah. By giving her a ride home. Yeah.
Had he not done that, she would have been safe, and the other two girls would have been eaten, and nobody would have known. Probably, it would have been a very short movie.
Yeah, it would have been a very short movie.
And then, the one girl, the one whose birthday it was, she was trying to be helpful by coming up with the idea for attacking Kevin, and
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of rooting with her. I was like, yes, you need to attack him. Like 3 against 1, you can do this.
Yeah, but as Casey said, he's much bigger and much stronger than they were.
Yeah,
so.
Especially if when they attacked, it was Dennis, then yes, he would be more stronger. But if they attacked, like say Miss Patricia or Hedwig, probably not.
Depending. And
because Dennis has like, as part of the personalities, they each have their own. Like they talk about how like one can be a lot weaker than the others, and one can actually have a lot of strength, and that's one of the things that Dennis has is strength.
Yeah, but you saw how he switched back to Dennis like so quickly in some of the moments.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that's what I'm saying is that depending on how quickly they would switch over to Dennis.
Yep.
And I think that each of the characters, and James McAvoy did a fantastic job of switching between them, and that each of the characters, even each of the identities, had their own path, and that without coming to compromise, that destructive things can happen.
Yeah.
And especially in this movie kind of portrays that, was that when everybody has their own agenda, then nobody's agenda is going to work.
Yeah. And then we find out that, like, when we finally meet the original Kevin for the first time, like, he has been in the dark since, like, what, 2014, 2015?
Yeah.
So for years, like, they've pushed him down. It's like, why? I want to know why they did that. Like, he clearly has no idea what's going on. He clearly did not want any of this. Like, why did the other personalities think that this was okay?
Well, as Dennis kept saying, was that, Kevin is weak. Kevin can't handle this. Kevin can't handle what's going on in the world right now. And, I think that shows the agenda there, was to show that ultimately Dennis wanted to protect Kevin. Everyone else wanted to protect Kevin. And Dennis felt like the best way to do that was to bring the Beast forward, which is why I think Ultron was such a bad villain, was because Ultron's way of helping humanity was by wiping them out, which, granted, it could have been a good storyline, but I think Ultron was just so underdeveloped that,
He wasn't as scary as I hoped he was going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, in the cartoon, the animated Avengers series, he was a lot scarier than he was in the movie.
Yep.
Probably because, what is his name? The actor who voiced Ultron. I think he kept hearkening back to Stargate for me, and I was like, that's Daniel from Stargate.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, he's not scary.
But obviously, like, many of Kevin's personalities are scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My thing is,
well, the Beast was scary. The Beast was terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, okay, so going back to, I want to say, was it the last counseling session when the doctor finally realizes that she's actually been talking to Dennis these past couple of times? Mm-hmm. She knows the story. Like, the other personalities have come out and said, like, we have pushed him and Miss Patricia back because, like, their idea is going to potentially harm Kevin. So we pushed them out so they cannot have the light. They're, like, basically in, like subconscious timeout. And so my question would be, like, if I was the doctor, like, wait a second, you're dangerous. Everybody else, sharing that body knows that you're dangerous. Why are you here all of a sudden? Like, that would be another red flag, I think, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And again, she missed it. She did not take that opportunity to, like ask the right questions, I think, ultimately.
Instead of trying to convince the one personality that the Beast was not real.
Yeah.
I think that was the wrong move. I think the better move would have been to acknowledge that the Beast was real, but to, try to find, another way of helping Kevin rather than summoning the Beast or whatever they were trying to do.
That's actually a good point because studies have shown that people who have really strong convictions about something, even when they are given proof that their idea is 100% wrong, like 100% wrong, that they will actually hold even stronger to their conviction because all of a sudden now they're being threatened, and it's part of the mechanisms that we had way back when we had to be running away from wild animals all the time, the fight or flight response. So when we are feeling like we're being attacked, we set up our defenses, even if we're just giving you facts to them that's being attacked, and so they set up their defenses, and they're like, nope, facts aren't true.
Well, and that's very much like what I wrote about this week, was that, especially now, a lot of what we're doing on social media and even within traditional media, with some of the headlines, with some of the news stories and stuff like that, they're salacious just to get people to start reading them.
Yep.
And that's the problem, is that media has moved into such a way that everybody has to do that now.
Yep.
And not actually portray the truth up front because they need to get people to actually read their articles. And I think that the Vlog Brothers had a wonderful video about that this week, was that talking about John's video earlier in the week, which didn't have his face on it. It just had a sunset scene and just had the title of the video in there, which it was a wonderful video about self-reflection and about being present in the moment. And I think that's very much applicable to this movie here, is that I think this is what we're doing with society. We're making people a little bit more broken. We're breaking them off from each other, from being able to actually listen to each other by saying everybody's got to have their own agenda. And instead of actually
people off, like,
yeah.
Like, these people believe this, these people believe this, and these guys, they believe this thing. Like, we're purposely putting up those divisions.
Yeah, we're even in the societies where we've had enough of labels, that we're just choosing the labels that we want, instead of saying, okay, no labels. Let's just talk. Let's just be human beings, and figure out what we can do with each other. And,
Yeah, but you just labeled yourself a human being. You just said no labels. Come on, Miguel.
Well, unfortunately, that's a true fact label there. I can't not be a human being. It's not like I am some alien in human form. As much as I want to be Superman.
I was about to say, but I thought, never mind. All right, so with all of that, like, what do we take from this movie? Like, what are the things that we need to take from the movie and input into our own lives?
I think ultimately is one of those things is to be a good mirror.
What do you mean by mirror?
What I mean by mirror is that as a therapist, as
friends,
spiritual leaders, as friends, and especially in movies, that's why we started doing this, was to say what we saw in the mirrors of these pop culture icons that we're pulling from. Is that we're trying to be mirrors of those things to help other people to kind of see some of those things for themselves. See
themselves.
See themselves.
Yes. Okay.
In that light.
Gotcha.
And is not pushing your own agenda, but allowing yourself to be a mirror to reflect a person back to themselves, so that they can see themselves in that situation. They can understand themselves a little bit better,
and sometimes see themselves as a person.
Yeah, and even to help them to ask for help when they need it, especially when they've come to that crossroads after a traumatic event, is to allow them to ask for help, is to not shun them for asking for help, because asking for help is not a weakness. No, it's a strength. It's being able to say, yeah, I fell down, or I went through this horrible thing. Can you help me? Let's figure out what works. Let's try together. Maybe this doesn't help. Maybe this helps. And that's what ultimately being a mirror is being there for the person, is walking through those difficult times with them to help elevate them to a better place.
And also too, like, acknowledging that yes, if you ask for help and that person who is trying to administer the help is not giving you the right kind of help, then it's okay to back away and, like, go seek help elsewhere. Yeah. But don't stop seeking help just because it didn't work with that one person.
Well, and that ultimately, I think that's what one of the biggest problems with the modern church is, that the modern church has forgotten that they're a mirror. They're a mirror to the human condition. They're a mirror to morality systems, to spirituality, and all of this other stuff. And they ultimately wanted to push their own agenda. And they ended up just creating this monster, this own beast of their own. And then you get things like Hobby Lobby and the owners trying to buy artifacts from Iraq and Iran, illegally on the black market, which is, just horrible. And because I'm not going to go into that, because that's, news story that you can look up yourself. And but But I think ultimately, what we need to do is we need to allow for brokenness. We need to allow for people to be broken, because ultimately it can bring that crossroads. It can make somebody stronger than they were before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, knowing the hardships that you and I have gone through, I would like to think that we are stronger for it. I mean, we still have our moments. Yeah. I mean, because we're human, so it's not like...
Wait, you just put a label on yourself.
Oh, shush. So we are allowed to acknowledge that we are broken. We are allowed to have the moments where we just need to break down and cry. And it's okay, because sometimes that is what you need in order to help yourself.
I heard something today that I absolutely loved. It was a story on the StoryCorps podcast. Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks when I'm actually doing yard work. But the line from the story was something that he remembered from his dad. And he said that he asked his dad, I heard that men aren't allowed to cry. And he asked his dad, is that true? And then his dad said, no, it's not true. No matter what you've heard, men are allowed to cry, because how else are you going to let that poison out of your system? Which I love that. I think that we should all be allowed to cry, because we got to let that poison out of our system.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
That'll be my point for today. So,
good point. Good job.
With that being said, we got to close because we're running out of time. So, speaking of brokenness and being shattered, I've written a book about my experiences with the church. It's called Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Now you know why I did that transition. And it's my story of being shattered, about my dreams of being a youth minister being shattered. And, I'm kind of proud of it. I self-published it. It's on Amazon now. Go check it out. You can find it on our website at thehonestfaith.com. Yep. While you're there, you can poke around and read some of the blogs. And, I'm really proud of my writing now. That's, something that I really enjoy. That and the podcast. These are my kind of outlets now. For feedback, if you have something to add about Split, we would love your feedback. Please give us a call at 720-372-3879. Leave us a voicemail, and we may feature it in we may feature it in a future episode, and have a conversation with you, and kind of talk about the points that you made about Split, or any of the other programs that we've already done, or any future programs that we may do.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions, like, why haven't you done Wonder Woman? That's because we haven't seen it yet.
Yep. Spider-Man will be coming as well. And let's see, there's a lot that is yet to come. We have yet to go through This Is Us like we said that we were going to. We've yet to finish Black Mirror. There are a lot of things that we have yet to do. So we have fodder for our program for a few episodes left. Give us feedback. We're on social media as well. You can even tweet to us at Real Honest Faith. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Honest Faith. We're also on Tumblr. I do check it occasionally. Yes, on most of the social medias, you can contact us and give us your suggestions or feedback. With all that being said, we invite you to come and join the conversation.
Bye.